I'm going to call to order the Tuesday, April the 18th, 2023 Commissioners meeting to order. And Manager Moe, I will ask you if we have any adjustments to the agenda.
Yes, ma'am. We do have two adjustments. The first one is removal of economic development from closed session. And then the second one is under administrative matters, the first item, 8.1. We're going to be reviewing that one and hearing that one at the 6 o'clock as opposed to reviewing it at the 4 o'clock. So
Okay.
it's still administrative matters, but it's going to be one of those we'll hold over for the 6 o'clock.
Okay. And with that being said, we do not have any appointments before the board. And at the 6 o'clock hour, also, we will have a Project Pivot public hearing. And then we'll have Jen or Chad and/or both on that one, I'm sure. So if you want to take us down into the administrative matters, Manager Moe, I would appreciate it.
Absolutely, thank you. The first item is a request from the Register of Deeds for approval of Budget Amendment Number 40 in the amount of $207,413.40 to appropriate technology and preservation funds for the purpose of preserving historical deed records. And Ms. Renee Holland is here to make this presentation to the board.
Good afternoon. I hope you all are doing well.
Good afternoon, young lady.
So I am coming to you this afternoon. Each of you have received a copy in your packets of the co-file systems proposal. And this is for preservation of some historical deed records. These are for books A through S. These records go back way back. Unfortunately, the system that was in place to preserve these records back in the 60s and 70s, the chemicals in those that were done at that time are starting to eat through the paper. So far, we've not lost any historical data, so it is my job as the registrar to make sure that we preserve these records in a way that we make sure that we do not lose any of that. So with that being said, I'm asking if we could allocate funds from our Preservation and Technology Fund and go ahead and move forward with this project. Does anybody have any questions?
Nope, gotta
Very important, yep. I mean, lived through it with the military discharges, and we want to make sure that we're preserving, because there's not another, we can go to NPRC for those. There's nowhere else to go besides here, so.
That's true, very important.
Very important.
All right. Consent?
Consent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. This request is from the Department of Social Services for approval of a 3-year contract with the Cloud Office Solutions. Sorry, I didn't say that right. I butchered that. Oh, I'm sorry. I skipped one. I'm just making sure everybody's on their toes. Our clerk was the first to call me at it. The next was a request from Information Technology Services for approval of a contract with Spectrum, and Mr. Joey Holzhauser is here to make this presentation to the board. I was just making sure everybody was paying attention.
Afternoon. So we currently have a circuit from Government Center South directly up to here. It's just a point-to-point circuit with Spectrum. And what we would like to do is expand upon that, make it a point-to-multi-point, and it's going to allow us to bring more locations online. We're going to be able to bring on a couple of EMS sites that currently function over VPN, which will make, door system. We can put them on the My Telephone system and eliminate some of these VPN connections. The biggest advantage is going to be bringing Mooresville Solid Waste online. They've been operating on VPN forever, and it's very inconvenient because that transfer site is a large site, and them having to work over a VPN and upload all their data is not ideal. We will be adding 2 EMS sites, the Mooresville transfer site, and upgrading Government Center South, Parks Recreation, ICATS, and that would be it. Most of the sites are going to get an upgrade in speed, but their price is going to go down. The new sites, of course, will be an addition in cost, but overall, the monthly costs are going to be $80 cheaper than what we're paying right now with bringing new sites on board.
Okay. Have any more questions?
Good.
Okay, good.
The second part about that I would like to ask for is authorization for the county manager to sign the contract.
I'm assuming you're good with that? Okay. All right. Consent?
Consent.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're to the request from the Department of Social Services for the 3-year contract for the cloud office solution. And I've got Yvette, or who is presenting on behalf of the board? 3 of us. Okay.
Steve, Angie, and
It's going to be a trifecta, a presentation here.
it's because Donna's not good with IT terms and technology. So, good afternoon, Commissioners. Steve's got a PowerPoint. Where is the, if you open the, right here or down here? Down here. Oh, okay, there you go. So, we've been notified by the State Department of Health and Human Services Division of Health Benefits that there was a lawsuit filed in 2017 called Hawkins versus Cohen that has some stipulations that were set forth in the settlement that ended as Franklin versus Kinsley, and it's placed some mandates on the local Department of Social Services to track information on telephone calls that come in from Medicaid recipients, Medicaid applicants. We have to determine hold times for these calls. We have to determine where the call went. Was it answered by voicemail? How long it took a worker to return that phone call? As well as provide these reports and that data to the state in our audits. Right now, our current phone system doesn't have the capability of capturing all the data that is mandated under this lawsuit. They originally told us we needed to have it in place by April the 1st. This directive was issued on March the 1st with a follow-up letter on March the 28th, and then they did send an additional letter that extended us till May 1st. If we can't have all of this in place by May 1st, then we have to enter into a corrective action plan with the Division of Health Benefits with a suitable timeline that they approve. So my IT's here to talk about what we can do with our current system and what we can't do and what the proposal is.
So specifically, the reporting and the monitoring is something our system currently can do. It does have a reporting function, but the reporting is very vague. We need to be able to track these calls in detail, whether they're in queue from start to finish, how long these people were in call, or how long they're in queue, what extension they call, where they get transferred to. Again, the reports we have now, they are there in the system, but they are very vague and basic. They don't really give us all that good detailed information, especially the queue part. There are other mandates that haven't dropped yet, but there have been several calls with this new mandate that's come down, specifically one being, like, for example, when a client calls in, they need to be able to call a specific extension, and if that worker is on the phone, they need to be able to either stay on hold or opt out. The MyTel system we currently have does not allow that caller to be able to stay on hold while they call a specific extension. This system will allow us to get around that and be able to satisfy that mandate.
This Avaya Cloud Office that we're proposing will take the place of a host of systems that we already have, and we'll put it all together in one nice little package for us. And at the bottom, you can see total, right now, we're spending $79,408.77 on these items. We've been told by AT&T that the cost of their PRIs are going to skyrocket soon. And AT&T, much like the state, won't give you a lot of notice. So in anticipation of that, if we can go to this Avaya Cloud Office, we won't need these PRIs anymore, so we won't incur those costs. So $79,408 is what we're spending right now.
In addition to some of these costs also too, we won't have to purchase new phones in the future. This system allows you to use just a client or just the software on the computer as the telephone, so a worker can talk basically through their microphone or their headset, whichever one that we give them. Everybody actually has laptops, so really they don't even need to have a headset. They can just talk directly through the system. So some of those repeat costs like telephones, buying a new server, servers typically have a 5 to 7 year life on them. Phone system support, we won't have to repeat those costs as the future goes on.
This also gives us the ability, if we need to go into the community, to a food bank, to a disaster center or whatever, we can pick our laptops up, take our telephones and all, voicemail and all, and just work just like we would be at the office, so we could serve the community much, much better.
And one of my favorite parts about this system is with the not having to have physical hardware on site anymore, don't have to worry about supply chain issues. We've had those in the past, just for something as simple as a docking station. We've had to wait 6 months out to receive that equipment before. As far as I know, critical pieces, I don't know what the supply chain looks like on those, but I don't want to find out in the event that we have a critical failure or something like that, and we need a next day part that we can't get. So this kind of brings everything into an encrypted, HIPAA-compliant cloud that hopefully help us be able to serve our clients better also.
So here's the good part. You can see they've offered us a 5-year contract and a 3-year contract. The $79,408 is what we currently pay out. The Avaya Cloud is $70,804 for 5-year, $77,738 for the 3-year. In a nutshell, when it's all said and done, we will have savings, whether it's a 3-year or a 5-year contract, will come out to the good. They do lock our prices in for life. It will never go up. It can go down. If in the event the rest of the county ever wants to come on board with this Avaya Cloud, that would just make our price totally go down.
Yeah, and Ring Central has actually became a partner with the ShoreTel system, which is the ones who own MyTel. So they've actually become partners with this system too. So we're hoping there'll be some additional cost benefits in there as well in the future.
So isn't 50% of it recoverable from the
Yes, sir.
state?
It is.
Would we be better off to do a 3 or 5? Does that allow them to deviate if they see the need of something further instead of going 5, or what's the pro and con?
I mean, the pro would be there would be more savings for a 5-year contract. The con would be none of us can predict the future, and
Right.
future legislators may decide to change, and we may need to meet some other type of requirement. I do think that this system, by looking at it, I do think this system has a lot of features, and it's easily adaptable. So if there was a new requirement, they may be able to add things to this system. I do know that Joey has looked at some things like this too. So it is a good option that they've presented to you. The phone system that we're using currently, we've had for several years, the voice over IP, the MyTel system. So, I think you're going to get 3 or 5 years out of this, if not longer. So it's just a matter of which direction the board would choose
In
Mm-hmm.
the
to go.
IT world, 3 years or 5 is a long time. A lot of things change in that amount of
It
time.
is. Yeah.
The
5
good
minutes.
news is, because it is a cloud-based system, they'll continue to update and upgrade as we go through the process. So it's not something that we're buying a physical phone that next year a new one's coming out. It's all a cloud-based system that will run off your laptop and your PC. So it will continue to stay updated as we go through the process.
Yes, ma'am.
Correct me if I'm wrong with my IT
No,
group.
you're
That is
absolutely correct.
All updates and any features that come out after the point that a contract is signed is included in this as well.
And there are lots of other features that we can use in addition to this that would be just hugely beneficial.
When did DSS go to the MyTel system? How long have y'all had those?
We purchased it in October of 2020. We installed it in January of 2021.
Yeah, and I guess that's the fear that I have, having lived through that migration, into that, and is there going to be the next that's going to come down the chain that they're going to change? Is there no programs available in the MyTel that would satisfy the same needs and requirements as that lawsuit was placed upon? Is there any upgrades or other programs that can be added to the MyTel that would satisfy that?
MyTel could no way, shape, or form satisfy the hold feature that they're mandating. Actually, we were told that there was not another phone system, a physical phone system, that York Communication had ever dealt with that could satisfy that piece.
Okay.
We were on a call a few days ago with the state, and it was just county after county popping in saying the same thing. Well, how are we supposed to do this? How are we supposed to do that? So,
Well,
This is one of those things where, with the stroke of a pen, there was a decision made with very little knowledge of how it's going to apply to everyday life. And I commend our DSS staff for going out and actually finding a product that will do everything that's being required, because that has
Absolutely.
not been easy.
Absolutely. Just
Yeah.
want to make sure. Joey, will we be able to, so those phones that are at DSS, are they compatible with our county's MyTel phones? That, like in veteran services per se? The phones that they have, would they be compatible?
What do y'all have? 420s?
So my question is, I mean, they're going to be ours, and as
Yeah.
we had phones go down as we went through those, Kyle, I know there's many times that you had to come out and we'd have a phone break. Well, can we use that for any replacement value?
The 420s in our POE.
I'm sorry?
We have the 6900 series and the 400 series here. So the 400 series, the 6900 series models we have. But the way cloud phone systems work is that they allow it to be compatible with their system. With the firmware, you can use different phone models from different brands. But last I talked to Byron, you cannot use the MyTel equipment that we currently have with the wireless.
Right, I understand that. My question is kind of, if we approve this, could you use phones from DSS to make replacements in,
You
we
take our
could.
Surplus, yes.
so we could repurpose those?
Absolutely.
Okay, so just because I know we had a number of them went down, and so just trying to make sure that at least there we can, instead of having to purchase new phones. Fantastic. That's what I want to make sure of. Make sure we're being smart with taxpayer dollars.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and arguably, I could include the server as well.
Fantastic.
That too.
So you'll be able to use a lot of that equipment to gear up those places. So fantastic.
Okay. That's all we have. We thank y'all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No five's cheaper, but 3 years is a long time in the IT world.
Yeah, boy.
So I think that'd be probably from my perspective, 3.
3. Okay. All right, do we have consent for the 3 year? Consent.
Consent?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
We got to get Karen's.
There was a request from the Department of Social Services to proclaim April as Child Abuse Awareness Prevention Month, and Ms. Karen Thompson is here to make this presentation to the board.
She has a video. Hang on one sec. Oh, you don't want me to show it now? Well, just hit play.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I am here to let you know that April is Child Abuse Prevention Awareness Month. And in recognition of that, the Department of Social Services, along with Children Hope Alliance, Dove House Children's Advocacy Center, the Guardian Ad Litem Program, and Pharaoh's Parenting, and we have the Director of Pharaoh's here, Tanya Fowler, came together for the celebration. And so what we decided to do was to paint the trees blue. And we tied ribbons on the trees. We had a ceremony, so to speak, in Statesville, as well as Troutman, as well as Mooresville and Taylorsville. And the precious thing is that as we were putting the ribbons on the trees in Statesville, and if you go by the library, you should see the tree painted blue, there were some children that were coming out of the library, so we asked them to help us, and they were so excited about that. With each city or location that we painted the trees, the mayor, representative of the mayor, did come out and join us, and there was a proclamation to declare that April was Child Abuse Prevention Awareness Month. And we also had an opportunity to do a video with Neighborhood TV, and so I'd like to play that video for you, so you will have an opportunity to see exactly why it is so important that we bring awareness to this, and I think the video does an awesome job of capturing our mission and why awareness is so important. We look April of 2022 until March of 2023. That's the period that would cover child abuse prevention awareness. There were 1,189 abuse reports involving over 2,200 children.
So the blue ribbons itself, the color is especially for child abuse prevention, and that color is universal.
What we as community need is more financial help for families, housing, medical needs, mental health needs. Getting stability in housing is a huge issue for the families here. Affordable housing is non-existent.
Biggest things that we're seeing at the Department of Social Services is mental health and drug use. It is rampant. I mean, we call it the big three, which is domestic violence, mental health, and drug use. And there has to be some answers for that. As a community, bringing awareness about abuse also brings awareness about resources that are needed in the community.
We're working at Children's Hope Alliance to empower your everyday neighbor, yourself, to be hope heroes in children's life. And what that looks like is just to provide kindness and be there for a child and be there for the parent that's struggling.
So our programs are to parent training, to educate the families. I had someone recently say, I wasn't a bad parent, I was a lost parent. Wow. So knowledge is power. If we can get parents to know what to do, they know what they don't want to do.
Right.
We just have to help them, and we can help them.
Give them tools.
Yeah.
Well, it's hard to parent when you've never been parented too.
True.
Yeah.
We're getting into generational issues here.
Healing is really the key. We do so much work with our team members and with the community to try to, catch the bad guy or, and help the family. But really, for that child to heal, and I think so many people don't realize what impact childhood trauma has.
Thank you. I would like to present, with permission, ribbons to the board for you guys to wear. If you notice, I'm wearing a blue ribbon. In hopes that you will wear your ribbons, we will have the ribbons tied to the trees throughout the month of April, but that you will wear your ribbon every day. And if someone asks you about your ribbon, that you will say, I'm bringing awareness to child abuse, because as indicated in the video, it is rampant, and it takes all of us to protect children, not just the organizations that you've seen. So we spearhead the cavalry, the charge to ensure that children in Iredell County are safe and protected and living in nurturing environments. So if you would like, I have ribbons to present.
Please.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, young lady.
Sharp objects.
And I would like to read the proclamation. So I would like to have all the social services folks come on up and stand, please, while I read the proclamation. And thank you for getting this information to us during the month of April when it was short notice, when I was listening on we had our DSS board meeting. And when you were sharing information, it's like we need to do this as a countywide initiative as well, and just share that there's not a day that goes by that some child somewhere is suffering. Some child somewhere feels unloved.
Amen.
Some child somewhere needs us. We need to be that voice, and together we can save a child, we can recognize a child, and we've got to talk about those hard conversations. Real world problems. So thank you for the video as well, and I would like to read the proclamation. National Child Abuse Prevention Month, April 2023 proclamation. Whereas in federal fiscal year 2022, 3.9 million reports were made to Child Protective Services. And whereas child abuse and neglect is a serious problem affecting every segment of our community, and finding solutions requires input and action from everyone. And whereas our children are our most valuable resources and will shape the future of Iredell County. And whereas child abuse can have long-term psychological, emotional, and physical effects that have lasting consequences for victims of abuse. And whereas protective factors are conditions that reduce or eliminate risk and promote the social, emotional, and developmental well-being of children. And whereas effective child abuse prevention activities succeed because of partnerships created between child welfare professionals, education, health, community, and faith-based organizations, businesses, law enforcement agencies, and families. And whereas communities must make every effort to promote programs and activities that create strong and thriving children and families. Whereas we acknowledge that we must work together as a community to increase awareness about child abuse and contribute to promote the social and emotional well-being of children and families in safe, stable, and nurturing environment. And whereas prevention remains the best defense for our children and families, now therefore I, Melissa Nieder, Chair of the Iredell County Board of Commissioners, do hereby proclaim April 2023 as National Child Abuse Prevention Month in Iredell County in partnership with the Iredell County Department of Social Services, Iredell County Guardian Ad Litem Program, Pharaoh's Parenting, Children's Hope Alliance, and Dove House Children's Advocacy Center. We urge all citizens to recognize this month by dedicating ourselves to the task of improving the quality of life for all children and families. I adopted this 18th day of April 2023. Thank y'all so much. Thank you. Let me sign this. Are we doing a photo? Sure. We'll do a photo then.
Oh, you have to come back up for a photo.
Oh, okay.
Don't leave yet.
Don't,
Thank you.
don't go too quickly.
Stand up.
You know the drill.
You know the drill. Yes, Mom.
Excuse me. Please come join.
Your head's crooked. Just it. Clown shoes.
Sit down one step.
Clown shoes.
Yeah. Step down one step.
Scotty, move this way a little bit. Get the gap. Feel the gaps.
Thank y'all. Appreciate you.
You will not do.
Good deal.
That's where chief deputies are.
Okay, our next request is from the Finance Department to award the sale of property on Harmony Highway to the highest bidder, and Ms. Deb Cheek is here to make this presentation to the board.
We have finally completed the upset bid process on Harmony Highway. The county owns property at 4600 Harmony Highway. The highest bid is from Mr. Clem in the amount of $20,000, so I'm asking for the board to approve that sale.
What do we have in that property? Wasn't it 40-something?
43.
43?
Don't know.
That's okay. It's around $43,000 that we had in the property.
And how many times have we
Try to sell it.
tried to sell it?
This is the third upset bid process that we've been through on that
But
property.
the thing is sometimes you lick your wounds and you move on. We need to
Correct.
lick our wounds and move on.
And we did get 6 bids on this.
Right.
So
So at least it was active.
Yeah, it was active this
And I
time.
think this was a lot more, significantly higher than's been in the past,
Yep, we were at 10.
The highest it's been.
Yes, this is
almost double the
Yeah, it
last.
is.
correct.
It is. I mean,
What we're down.
All right, we're all good to go. I'm sorry, I'm trying to, with my safety pin here. All right, consent for the property in Harmony?
consent.
Consent.
Very good, thank you. The next item is Cheek has as well, and that's a request from the Finance Department for approval to adopt the fiscal year 23-24 funding plan and certification form for the Juvenile Crime Prevention Council.
thank you. The Juvenile Crime Prevention Council has met and awarded their funding plan for the next fiscal year. It is in the amount of $405,670. That is the same amount of funding that we had received in the prior fiscal year. We awarded all of that except for $16,781. We met all of the requests from the funding programs, and we had about $17,000 over. The Juvenile Court Counselor has made a recommendation to these programs to work together on some issues that she's seeing within these students and concerns that need to be addressed. And once they have formulated a plan for our council, we will also allocate the $16,000. Another change that comes this year with the funding plan is the state has allowed us to adopt a 2-year funding cycle. This will only be for the next fiscal year, but it does not require the funding committee of the JCPC to put out for bids and go through that bid process, but every other year. It will take work off of the council. And the last item in there is that the county match remains at $24,500.
Any questions? All right, consent?
Consent.
Thank you, Deb.
Thank you.
And Ms. Cheek has the final item for the Finance Department, which is a request to adopt a resolution and agreement to authorize the private sale of certain surplus personal property.
The Sheriff's Office is making this request. Lieutenant Gary Simpson has retired, and he's requesting to purchase his K-9 Abby. It has been determined that it's not in Abby's best interest or the interest of the Sheriff's Department that she continue to be used in crime detection, so they are asking for the passing of a resolution and an agreement for him to be able to purchase her.
Can we gift this to him legally? Without charging him anything?
$1 purchase.
Okay.
It's a nominal value.
I volunteer to pay the $1.
Okay.
I'll give you 50 cents on it.
Okay.
I'll give you.
It's a no-brainer. I mean, what'd you say?
20 cents a piece, 20 cents a piece.
Okay. Okay.
Took the brains to get that all figured out. You know, I will say this, one of my adventures out and visiting different departments, in the very last few days of Gary's time with the Sheriff's Department, I actually got to see both he and Abby interact and work, and it was amazing. And I think that's the appropriate place. So.
That's always good to know.
Yep.
Consent.
Good one. Consent. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next item is a request from administration for approval of the Articles of Association and Agreement for the Centralina Workforce Development Consortium. These are some technical revisions to this, and it is a requirement that we have these Articles of Association Agreement approved by all 7 counties that are in this consortium with the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. It is a requirement of that act. We have the information in your packet, but like I said, these are just some technical revisions from a previous agreement.
Anybody have any questions on this?
No.
Okay. All right, consent?
Consent.
Consent.
The next item is a request from Tax Administration for approval of the March 2023 refunds and releases, and there are no commissioner names on this list.
Consent for that? Consent.
The final item under administrative matters is a request from the clerk to the board for approval of the minutes from the meetings on March the 21st and April the 4th, 2023.
Any questions on those?
Nope.
We're good? All right, consent?
Consent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that takes us all the way through administrative matters. No announcements of any vacancies, no appointments, any unfinished business. Okay. This is public comment night, which we'll do that at the 6 o'clock hour. Do we have commissioner comments and updates? I believe you, Commissioner Stroud, made a visit out to ECOM.
We did. We had this past week was 9/11 appreciation, and we're blessed with commissioners. We provided some meals, and also had enough that we also to EMS as well for the on shift for that day as well. So very thankful, and in doing so, we also, as part of that, supported two fire departments, one local and another fire department, and so very appreciative of all the things the emergency folks do for us and being there for us. But the ECOM folks were very excited and happy to
Be fed.
be fed.
It's always a good thing.
Yeah.
Always a good thing.
So,
Any other updates or comments? Okay. Any new business? All right, county managers report?
Commissioner Stroud stole my thunder. So I did want to brag on our commissioners. It is heartwarming and wonderful to see a group pull together to appreciate staff, to recognize staff in times like recognition months or weeks or things of that nature. And I know that you guys have done this countless times. So, but to be creative and to provide a meal, but also support another volunteer agency or nonprofit group that's serving the community as well, that does speak volumes. So thank you to our board for that. I know that you guys have done this several times. I know that you've provided gift cards. I know that you have cooked yourselves. I know that you have gone and purchased meals and done various things. So it is greatly appreciated, and staff do appreciate what you do for them. So you should be honored and recognized for that as a board and as a group that do that. So the only other thing just to announce is just a reminder that the North Carolina Association of County Commissioner District meeting is April the 27th, and it will be at Cooperative Extension, and it will be hosted here in Iredell County, that district meeting, and it starts at 5 o'clock.
There will be a meal provided for dinner.
Make a note of that. All right, anything further?
No, ma'am.
All right, how about a motion to go into closed session?
So move.
All right, thank you. We will go to closed session for property acquisition. The economic development you said was removed, correct?
Correct, yes, ma'am. Just property acquisition.
Property acquisition for closed session. We'll be back.
I'll rotate.